With the success of the last film featuring those Miami policemen, it was probably little surprise that a fourth movie, the long-running franchise, would hit screens. With many of the same people returning, Bad Boys: Ride or Die seeks to provide much of the action and comedy audiences have come to expect. While directing duo Adil and Bilal try to spice things up with their action and camera moves, the film cannot overcome that it's a largely generic police movie and some of the plot points are rather silly, even for this series which has never taken itself seriously. The story the filmmakers have come up with here is one that could have been given to any buddy cop movie. The mostly thin plot is primarily an excuse to put together a bunch of energetic action sequences and comedic set pieces. Neither Will Smith nor Martin Lawrence given too much to work with, although Lawrence gets the opportunity to show he has not lost too much of his comedic spark. He has not appeared in as many movies nowadays as he did during the 90s and 2000s, so it's always appreciated when he shows up in something. One of the funnier scenes in the movie also involves a confrontation with a couple of stereotypical Southerners. The action does try to spice things up with the filmmaking team moving the camera around, but not in a way that gets too dizzying. The shoot-'em-ups provide a bit of excitement, and there are a few creative moments here and there. However, even that eventually tires after a while, with the climax especially feeling stretched out and giving the impression that it won't end. At first, the main villain seems like he'll be a menacing presence and a diabolical match for Mike and Marcus. Unfortunately, it gets a lot less interesting as the movie plays on, and it just becomes a standard tough baddie. The return of Mike's son and where they take him feels forced and unearned, especially after the events of the previous movie, and some of the other supporting characters also leave little impression. Curiously, the standout among the other characters ends up being Reggie, a minor character played mostly for laughs in Bad Boys 2. The film throws the two leads into a typical fugitive plot, but then doesn't do a whole lot with that outside the aforementioned comical moment. For the most part, the sequel tries to rely heavily on Smith and Lawrence and the action, but that's just not enough. The Bad Boys franchise has never been a sophisticated one, with the Michael Bay-directed films especially relying on tired humor and frenetic action. Under the direction of Adil and Bilal, there has been a slight improvement in certain areas, and while Ride or Die does not differ too much from what Bad Boys for Life did, the audience who's grown to love hanging out with Mike and Marcus will get what they came for. It's mostly a shame that the story is not a lot more interesting, and the attempts to tie together all the action sequences are rather flimsy, with the final result not allowing it to stand out from your standard cop movie, aside from the presence of Martin Lawrence and Will Smith.